Okay, hey everyone, this is Kevin here with Divinely Designed, and I thought I would start making videos again, and I think my focus is going to be on quilting, quilt making, and then the actual quilting portion of it, and specifically working on a Longarm machine. So I have not been quilting for long. Over the past couple of years, I kind of really got into it, was really interested in it, and then I started learning or renting some time at a shop to use a Longarm machine to do the actual quilting of quilts, and got really into that, and got to meet some really good people at that shop and who were really encouraging and let me sort of play around on their machine and just, were super helpful. All of that led to me buying a Longarm machine. Now, there are probably, if there are quilters out there watching this, they are probably saying to themselves, like, gosh, this guy was quilting for 3 years and then he bought a Longarm. That's pretty insane. And that's not wrong. Like, there are plenty of people who would probably say it's crazy because this is certainly an investment, right? And I think it's a little bit crazy. I get that. Like, I totally embrace that. I own that. I'm aware of it. I decided I was really just interested in it, and I thought it was really cool, and a couple of things sort of played into it. I really like my job. So my current job is in consulting and healthcare. For those of you who've watched me for a long time, you know I'm a nurse, but I do consulting now. So I don't actually work in a hospital at the bedside. I work for a technology company, and I go around to different hospitals, and I work with them when they purchase our software, and I help them get their software installed and all those things. But it's all still in nursing. Like, I'm still dealing with nursing. And so my company's great. My company's fine. I like it. But I am, sort of over the years, I have transitioned out of patient care, and now I work primarily with a computer most days. It's not that I dislike my job. It's just that I think I'm not really quite sure that I'm going to want to do that for the next 20 years, right, before I retire. And thinking about, like, well, what would that look like if I left, right? I have always been a creative person, but I've never really done anything official for it. I'm just sort of a hobbyist serial crafter, right? So I thought, well, maybe that's something I might do. I mean, that would be a huge change for me, right? It's sort of a second career after this, and it's hard to compete, quite honestly, with being a nurse and with a master's degree and having 25 plus years of healthcare experience as a consultant for my technology company. They pay me very well for that experience that I have. So certainly when I consider this potential change in the future, it's not something that I'm like, oh, I'm going to be like $1 million quilter, right? Like, this is something that I think that I might do in order to sort of fulfill the more creative side of me. And I'm not talking about like next year, right? Maybe it's in 5 years, maybe it's in 10 years, right? But I'm just not sure that I want to stay where I am in my current position, working kind of in this computer world, until I retire, which is, 20 years away. Well, actually not 20, a little less than that. So anyway, so that was sort of part of it. Again, it was a new kind of creative thing for me that I was really excited about. And I really like quilting. I think it's super cool. There's so many things you can do in quilting. Yeah, so that's sort of what led me here. And what I thought I would do a little bit of is a little bit of introduction to kind of my Longarm machine, and sort of show you a little bit about it and talk a little bit about it. I intend to make some more videos about Longarm quilting, and I think, like, certainly as a very novice Longarm quilter, certainly, even still probably a novice quilter just in general, although I've done not lots, but I've made bunches of quilt or quilt-related projects, so I think, I have at least some experience there. But I thought, like, I might do sort of some videos kind of as the journey of a novice long arm quilter. I know long arm quilting is becoming a lot more popular, and a lot of people are buying machines, and there are some, lots of videos out there from long armers, but I thought I would, sort of my angle would be kind of like the novice person, right? I am not super experienced. I'm going to post some videos where I'm sure I'm going to make mistakes. I hope at those times I will eventually get an audience of quilters, and maybe some of those folks will be experienced people who can share, their knowledge with me. So when I mess up, I can learn some things, and then hopefully, if I have some other novice quilters out there, you can kind of learn along with me. So that's sort of what I think my videos are going to be for now. But anyway, so let's take a look at my my long arm machine here. I'm going to try and back up just a little bit. Okay, so my long arm machine is a Innova is the brand. And this is the sew head over here. Let me see if I can turn out the light so it doesn't cause so much glare here. Okay, that's a little bit better. So, so this is a long arm machine, right? Long arm machines are specifically for doing the quilting on a quilt. So instead of taking your quilt and moving it underneath a stationary needle, like on a regular sewing machine, instead of moving the quilt, you move the machine over the quilt. So that's really the difference, but obviously it's a very big machine. This particular one is a 26-inch, and when they refer to 26-inch, it's really kind of the depth here, or the throat space. So the bigger the throat space that you have, the more area you can quilt, right? So 26 inches is a fairly decent size. In Innova, I think they go up to a 30-inch, I think they have, or a 20, they have a 28 and I think a 30 as well. And then the other sort of big dimension for a long arm machine is the size of the table, right? Now, a lot of people will get 12-foot tables. That's fairly common, at least from what I hear. But I don't have a ton of space. I live in Philadelphia. My craft room is in my basement. So I am lucky enough that I have this spare room kind of in the basement in Philadelphia. So I have a custom table that's only 9 feet long. However, that being said, I could still do a queen-size quilt on here probably, right? It's kind of the biggest I could do. So I can't do king-size quilts, but that's a trade-off for me. So, so I only have a 9-foot table and a 26 throat space. Now, 26 is a little bit deceiving, right? I think that's the actual distance from like bar to bar, but the space that you have to actually quilt is about 20 inches down here. So the other thing, probably the other feature on here is I have robotics, a lot of places will call them, or a computer that can do quilting as well. So, so my machine is an Innova 26-inch with lightning stitch, and the Mach 3 is the actual description of it. And I have only had it for about 2.5 weeks, I think, now. Maybe just over 2 weeks, I think. So I've already completed one quilt. I sort of had one quilt ready to go as soon as I got my machine. And so I've done one on my own machine, like the weekend that I got it. And now I've been sort of playing around and doing some others. And I have a bunch of quilt projects. Some of them are ready to go or very close to ready to go, and then others are in the works. But I am sort of splitting my time between actually working on the quilt projects, right, actually assembling a quilt or whatever it is, and then actually doing the quilting. So I have some other things that I'll be doing. I think I'm going to do another video on this one that I have right here, and talk a little bit about what I'm doing kind of on this and playing around. But that's sort of the introduction to my long arm machine, a little bit about my story, about why I purchased a long arm. And I didn't really touch on like why I bought a Innova versus anything else. I know there's lots of discussion out there, and I will give you the very short version, is that I had rented time on an Innova, and I The people I was working with at the shop were super nice. I did eventually go and look kind of at a Bernina and played around with it a little bit more. And everybody I know recommends like go to a show and actually put your hands on a Gamble and a Bernina and a Juki and you know, whatever, and actually touch and use them. And I did not do that. And I don't regret it either, really. I don't. I have a cousin actually who got a Longarm machine like a week before I did, so it's very weird that all happened. And she is a Bernina, and so we haven't been able to get together yet. But I will eventually head over to her place and get to play on a Bernina later on because that's what she got. So anyway, so that's sort of an introduction to me and my machine. I'm excited to hear from you all. If I have any novice quilters out there, what's your machine? Why did you choose your machine? What is your story? Why did you buy a Longarm machine? What are your plans for it? Tell me a little bit about your story if you're a novice Longarm quilter, or even if you're an experienced one. Tell me about like when you started and why you did it, and do you regret it, or you know, was it the best decision you ever made in your life? I'm interested to hear all those things. So okay, so thanks a lot for checking in. Hope you enjoyed this hopefully shortish video, and look for more quilting videos on my channel. Okay, thanks everyone. Bye.